Hello and welcome back. In this code walkthrough, we'll go through how we can create tables in SQL. As the first thing, we want to make this as a transaction. So the database should know that either the whole set of instructions that are to follow will succeed as a whole or fail completely. We indicate this by begin transaction followed by a semicolon. We want to start from a clean slate. And so that means we drop the schema if it already exists and indicate by cascade that we drop everything that we will find in the database. Now we recreate the schema and we name our schema RDM. As a convenience, we put the search part to the schema name as well. Now we drop over the table if they already exist. This is quite a dangerous command as such, because it will delete all the data that may be stored in these tables. However, for this script, we really want to start from the beginning and recreate everything from scratch. When we create tables, as we've discussed, we need to create them in the right order. So tables that are referenced need to be created first. In our example, we create the table storage first, because this is referenced later. So we have create table, RDM here is the schema name, and storage is the table that we want to create. Each table needs a primary key, and here we take storage ID as a primary key. It's an integer value and it's always auto-generated by the database itself. So this we indicate by generated always as identity. Now we add the columns that we want to use. In our case, a storage location, which is a string of length 100. We indicate that this must be a unique value, so you can't have the storage location twice, and the user must enter it if it wants to amend the table. We also indicate when this table was last updated. This is a special variable timestamp, time and date, in the current time zone, and we add a default value, so if we don't interact with this value manually, the database sets the current time as the timestamp. The idea is that we don't use this column ourselves, but let the database fiddle with it whenever we add something or change something. Now we create the second table of our little example for the samples. Again, the schema name and now our table name. We have our primary key. And now the columns, sample name, again, a string, unique, and it has to be filled. And now we want to reference our first table, so we give it the same column name, storage ID, that we used before as well. Here is just an integer value, as we generated it here. And we do last update as a column as before. We set the keys, primary key for the sample ID for this table, and now we tell the database that we want to reference the other table, so we add a constraint and give it a name. And we say that storage ID here becomes now a foreign key that references this table up here, RDM storage, and it references this column in that table. We also tell the database what to do when this table gets deleted, so we don't have an undefined behavior. At the end of the transaction, we say commit followed by a semicolon to indicate the database that first of all this transaction ends now, but it also tells the database now to actually commit all these changes to the database.